What's going on, friends and family? Thank you so much for tuning into Every Day's a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, guys, another great day, another great interview. And when I say I'm excited for my next guest, I am super excited because I tell you what, I don't think we've ever got to probably get so inside of the Marine Corps uh, stuff boot camp like we are today. We've had a couple of drill instructors on here. Jonas the Mad Hatter, always a great time. He's definitely given us some great boot camp stories. This one, we're going to be able to watch a little more video and talk a little bit more about it. But my next guest graduated from Marine Corps boot camp on May 5th, 1995. He attended Marine combat training at Camp Pendleton and then Motor T. Subsequent duty stations included Iwakuni, Japan, 29 Palms, California, and MCRD San Diego for drill instructor duty. In 2004, he became the protocol chief for MAR 4 PAC, 3-star commanding general. He deployed to Iraq in 2006. Based in Al Assad, Iraq, completed 27 combat missions, 13 as a platoon sergeant and 14 as a platoon commander after his lieutenant was severely injured in an IED attack. Since leaving the Marine Corps, he's completed his Bachelor of Science in Business Management, owned 10 convenience stores, launched a film company, a fitness company, appeared in television and film, and produced several feature-length motion pictures. He is actively involved serving veterans and serving his community as a care pastor in Southern California. His name is SSgt Nichols, but before he gets on, we're going to give you guys a little taste of what you guys are in for. Here we go.
Never quit and never give up. Does not have their seat bag. Where's your freaking seat bag? Go find a freaking seat bag right damn now. Go find a freaking seat bag right now. I mean, you understand that? You understand that? I know what I said. You still want to go sign off? Get outside right now. He should have joined a freaking army boot camp because he had enough like he gonna make it. Get out there right now. Where's the freaking cover? Shut up! Shut up! Your fork sack on the top right first, then the bottom right, then you will go into making your racks. You understand me? Yes, sir! Do it right now.
All right, and with us we have Nichols SSgt Nichols. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, sir? Thank you for having me on the show today.
Hey, man, it is my pleasure. Absolutely all mine. Now, let's get to know all about you, brother. What brought you to be a badass Marine? And tell us about your Marine Corps career and all the great things that you got going on today.
All right. Hey, first and foremost, my name is Michael Nichols, also known as SSgt Nichols. I'm originally from Louisiana. At the age of 18, had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. My brother signed up in the delay entry program for the Marine Corps about a year in advance. And 2 weeks before he went to boot camp, his recruiter said, "Hey, Michael, I'll give you $1,000 if you go to boot camp with your brother." I was like, $1,000? From Louisiana, we had nothing growing up. I'm like, $1,000 sounds like $1 million. Marine Corps recruit training, don't know anything about it. Let's do it. And so both my brother and I went to boot camp February 13th, 1995. 3 days into boot camp, my brother slipped a disc in his back, got kicked out of the Marine Corps. And I had a choice. Remember, we were on a buddy program, so I had a choice. The drill instructor goes, "Come here, Nichols," and I run over and he's like, "Your brother's going away. And let me guess, you're going to want to go away with him as well." And I was like, and he's like, "You got 1 minute to go talk to your brother and decide if you're going to stay in the Marine Corps and become a Marine or go home and be nothing. And so he gave me the ultimatum. I ran over to my brother. My brother was like, "Hey, look, I can't continue. My back's done, but stay and do it for us." And that was the last time I saw him for 3 months. I ran back, told the drill instructor I was going to stay, and fast forward, here I am 29 years later.
Wow. Well, I'm surprised they even give you a choice, like.
Yeah, like I had no clue,
Even,
right? I
yeah.
had no clue what I was doing. I had no preparation. Like most people join the military, they work with a recruiter, they show up for training once a week. I had no clue at all. I was completely discombobulated. I just showed up and followed orders, go left, go right, whatever the case may be.
Sounds very familiar to my kind of experience. No clue other than I did watch Full Metal Jacket. So that was my extent, of like knowing like kind of what I was getting myself into. But yeah. And then, once you get in there, you're like, holy shit. So I'm, at that choice, there's a lot of guys that may have said, "Hey bro, I'm coming home with you, man." Like,
Yeah.
like, maybe a couple more weeks into it, bro,
Yeah. I remember in boot camp. So like, my brother went away, and then we got dropped to our platoon.
You guys were at
And
Camp Pendleton?
MCRD
MCRD?
MCRD San Diego,
San Diego,
and Camp Pendleton, a
Yeah,
combination
yeah.
of both. And I remember being in recruit training. Back in the day, we used to have mess duty, and I don't
Right.
know if you know what that is, but mess
No.
duty is basically a 1 week. You're either cutting grass, you're at the chow hall, you're on working party stuff.
I was
So on and
tossing
so.
salad.
Yeah, I got put at the chow hall, but the reality of it is I started to find myself as a recruit mimicking what the drill instructors were teaching me. And I started to feel this urge of, man, I think I could become one of those guys, So like from day one, well, not day one, but into my training, I realized that that was something that interests me. And of course, it took, 6 years of, being molded and mentored to become a Marine and deploy and come back from deployments and go on field ops. And then I realized that, becoming a Marine Corps drill instructor is something I have to do before I get out of the Marine Corps.
Now, did you go to NCO school and all that before you ended up
So,
going, or because of deployment and
yeah,
all that stuff that
yeah.
interfered? Because I know I wasn't able to go to NCO school. And,
So I was stationed in Iwakuni, Japan, my first year.
right.
Came back from Iwakuni, Japan. Got stationed in Twin Palms, California. I ended up going to corporal's course and sergeant's course, then DI school, then staff academy, and then I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps after 12 years. But everything that I went through was kind of preparing me for the hardship that would come being a Marine Corps drill instructor. And it was the hardest thing I've ever accomplished, but the most rewarding and fulfilling for the rest of my life. Like a lot of Marine Corps drill instructors go there and they get, that persona, and then they leave and they carry that persona on. I left it and I did a couple more years and I ended up getting out of the military. I ended up owning businesses and working for the Department of Veterans Affairs. So I wasn't too far in my career where it's like, that's who I am every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I learned to balance, like God's given me this unique gift and talent that I can train recruits to become United States Marines. I can take charge of any moment, anywhere I'm at any time. But that's not who we're supposed to be in the civilian world. Like, it's great. I got that experience. I have it in my cargo pocket. If and when I need to be hardcore 007, I can be. But I want people to know who I am as Michael Nichols, that just happened to be a staff sergeant in the United States Marines.
Right. Yeah. And it's not your identity, right? I mean, and that's a lot of people don't realize, like, drill instructors have a mission, and their mission is to train Marines and make them warriors and put them, get them ready to go experience the most hardest part they'll ever experience probably in their lives. I mean, or some of them, never experienced that in their life ever, and you guys got to go through these kids leaving their homes for the first time, trying to mold them into warriors. And you're going through boot camp several different times. You know what I mean? And it's not just, you got to go on the humps with them all. There's some of the things you don't got to necessarily do with them when they're getting their, getting smoked and stuff like that. But there's a lot that you do got to go do. And you're basically with the recruits day in, day out. And you made it all the way to a black belt, right? You were a senior drill instructor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I trained 8 platoons of coming United States Marines, 6 as a green belt drill instructor, and 2 as a black belt, which is also known as a senior drill instructor. Hardest stuff I've ever done, but most rewarding for long term as far as me, having the ability, these unique skill sets, because, you look back at your life growing up and maybe you're shy, maybe you don't have confidence in yourself, but the Marine Corps kind of puts as much structure in place to eliminate as much failure as possible. But it really goes back to the willingness and the heart of someone willing to be led and mentored and guided, even when you don't understand. And that's where a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's a time to lead, there's a time to follow, and you got to know what time and season you're in so you can get to where you want to be. I always tell people, like, if we did 13 weeks of recruit training and there's no structure from the drill instructors, at the end of the 13 weeks, the recruits won't be in shape. They won't pass their fitness tests. They won't pass their history test. They will fail, but structure helps eliminate that failure for, our recruits. Some people look at the videos and be like, man, if they, Marine Corps drill instructor ever talk to me like that. Well, of course, you don't have the right attitude, because you got to remember, from the outside looking in, it looks like we're just being assholes. But from the inside looking out, we know that these young men and women are going to combat, and they have to be able to take care of the person to the left and right. And so that's our overall mission. And, like, sometimes you always get blowback from the grunts, right? Everybody has to go through this methodical process to get to where they're at, regardless of what MOS.
100%. Every single MOS goes through boot camp.
Goes through this methodical process. They
100%.
go to boot camp, they go to MCT, and then they go on to their
SOI, MCT, or SOI.
Yep. And they go to their MOS school, regardless of what school it is. Everybody cannot be a grunt, right? Like people always ask me, will I see combat? Well, not necessarily, but you will always be in support of combat no matter what. And without that person shipping water, without this person delivering mail, without this person getting bullets and Band-Aids, like, all this has to work in order for the infantry to do their job. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the infantry. Matter of fact, when I was a drill instructor, the infantrymen were some of the best DIs that I worked alongside with, because we know that they're on the front lines, but they're also willing to put the front line on side so they can train the next generation to take the torch and carry, and I always tell Marines, carry that torch as long as you possibly can. And when you're done carrying it, it doesn't matter why you got out or why you decided to move on, carry that torch and then convert your military experience into something in the civilian community where you can make an impact in people's lives.
100%. And as a person who's gone through boot camp and been screamed at, been hollered at, also, they call me a pogue as well. I'm supply side, and but so a lot of what you're saying resonates me. But like, what I'm gonna say is, from my experience, it's like when you're a kid and your parents get mad at you and you get disciplined from your parents and you get in trouble from your parents. You don't really understand it then, right? And then you become a parent, and then you start things like, oh, well, no wonder why they used to get mad at me. Now you find yourself getting at your kids, kind of the same thing.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing with boot camp in a way. You're getting screamed at, getting yelled at. And there's a purpose for all the things that we do, sitting left over right, Indian style the whole time. You start to learn, oh shit, that plays out when you go to the shooting range and all these things. And it gives you're a lot more steadier at this point in time because you've been doing it every single day for a couple hours here and there, But then when you go into deployment, there's even another level of realization of training, of also you start to realize, hey, dude, these pogue guys do a lot of shit too.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
remember. So let me give you a perfect example. So I was in Iwakuni, Japan, motor
mm-hmm.
transport.
Right.
Then I went to Twin Palms, and I got stationed at the flight line, and I was refueling aircrafts. One of the best jobs I've done as motor transport. I love refueling aircrafts. I don't know what it was. It was just they
Probably
would
because
give
you
you
get
a
that
mission.
air wing or chow
Yeah, you get
hall.
that, and you get this laundry list of birds that need to be filled up, and you just go out and accomplish your mission, come
Yeah.
back, and so on and so
Right.
forth. Well, I decided that, man, I love this job. I want to reenlist for 2 years. So I ended up reenlisting my first time for 2 years, and my career planner told me, say, hey, just reenlist for 2 years. They'll keep you here on station, and you'll be able to keep refilling aircrafts. Well, what he didn't tell me is when you reenlist for 2 years, they'll keep you on station, but they can change your unit, right? And so 30 days later, after I reenlisted on the commandant's aircraft, I got orders to the infantry. And that's not what I wanted to do, right? But here's the beauty of the power of not being infantry, but being there to support infantry.
Right.
As soon as I checked in, my gunnery sergeant told me, "Hey, go pack your trash because you're going in the field." Basically, I was in the field nonstop with the infantry, and it got to the point where every time there was a field op coming up, the infantry guys started requesting me because they knew I can make shit happen. Right? Like, this guy's on it. We need medevacs. We need this. We need that. Like, whatever the case may be. And they basically started requesting me because they knew it made their lives a little bit easier. Us transporting them from point A to point B, make sure they were there for pickups, make sure we top off vehicles, so on and so forth. Like, the infantry does not work without pogues and people around them to support them. You know what I mean? And so
100%.
that's a perfect example of how, from the outside looking in, they don't want to deal with you. They don't want you part of it. But then, the reality of it is we have to work together so we can accomplish the mission, which is locate and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver.
It's crazy how much relation like our careers kind of are, but different. I mean, because even though you're motor T and I'm supply, we pretty much go hand in hand when it goes into the combat situation because our supplies don't move without motor T, and just the whole thing. And we ended up having to learn how to drive all the 7 tons ourselves, how to man the 50 cals, because we are attached to a grunt unit as well. That's just the thing. You could be a support unit, but they attach you when you get attached to a grunt unit. You're doing everything they're doing, except you have to be kind of back in the rear, obviously, to make sure that they can get all their supplies. But you're not that far behind in the rear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can't be way so far out that they can't get their stuff. But
it's kind of like, don't cut off the hand that feeds you, right? Like, and then what I noticed in the infantry,
especially when you're checking out, bro. I mean, you got to go through supply.
Yeah. And like, most people need the bullets, the Band-Aids, the food, the water, the supply chain has to work. And so for any infantrymen out there that look down upon the pogues, look, this doesn't work without the other, and vice versa. Like, don't cut off the hand that feeds you. So always give honor where honors due, give credit where credit's due. We're all United States Marines, and make sure you take care of the people that are taking care of you.
When I hear the guys that get on the hardcore poger stuff, like just poking it, like I feel like for them, they never deployed and they weren't probably out in the combat zone because they didn't get to watch what happens in terms of, that supply guy in the rear might be over there sitting at a warehouse, handing out your gear and doing stuff like that. But when they move forward, man, they got a whole job in defending themselves. And we're like sitting ducks out there. Like where we were at, we were taking Scud missiles and they had to put the Patriot missiles out there to help defend us because they knew exactly where we were.
When I was in Iraq from 2006 to 2007, all we did is logistics, right? Moving bullets and Band-Aids, tanks and troops and CIA and everybody from point A to point B in convoys, right? Massive convoys. Yeah. When I went to Iraq in 2006 and 2007, the number one threat was IEDs. It wasn't rounds coming down range. It wasn't mortars coming in. It was at nighttime, roadside bombs and IEDs. Like, we were hit by IEDs like every fourth to eighth, mission that we went on. And I could tell you this, like I would rather take a round coming down range. And here's the most frustrating part is when we got hit by an IED, we set up a perimeter, and you're looking down range and there's nobody to shoot because the person that planted the IED is at home sleeping until tomorrow night, until tonight, where they're going to come and dig another IED. And then, so many times I rode over IEDs, and by the grace of God, it didn't go off on my vehicle. Sometimes it went off on a convoy, an Army convoy that was following behind us. Sometimes it was in front of me. Sometimes it was right after I rolled over the IED, the vehicle behind me hit. By the grace of God, look, I had, a hedge of protection over my life. But I can tell you right now, like the most frustrating thing about me serving in combat is there was no one to release the anger and emotions and the frustration with, because there was nobody to shoot. If you look back, if you Google on YouTube and you look at, IED attacks, somebody's in the mountains hiding a mile away, recording what's going on so they can post it on, as propaganda online.
Yep.
That was the most frustrating part about being going to combat for me.
Yeah, bro. As a matter of fact, two of our motor T guys got really bad. One of them, he was getting ready to, when he got out, he already had a scholarship to go play at Arizona for a football team. They were rolling through the town, hit an IED. Man, lost his eye, hands, like it just was a bad situation for two young guys that had their whole life ahead of them. But yeah, bro, like IEDs became our biggest enemies over there. And the hard part about it is that's their territory. That's their turf, right? They know all the turns and they know where you have to go to get to somewhere.
Right.
And that's just the thing, and I know Marines, our tactics are a little bit different, I think, than others. And I won't share any of that, but especially on our movements. But, I think that we try to avert that as much as we can by doing, different movements. But there's also you have to go through there, and there's only so much clearances that can happen. And sometimes they get missed, and unfortunately the only way you find them is someone rolls over and then you lose people or you take some major injuries.
Yeah. It's for those that don't know what IED stands for, it's improvised explosive devices out there. Anyway, switching back to being a Marine Corps drill instructor, what did I do special to get a movie director embedded with my platoon?
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question. So that's great.
Yeah. So let me give you what really happened. So we had our Marine Corps ball. I just got promoted from sergeant to staff sergeant, went to the Marine Corps ball, and at the Marine Corps ball, I find there's this guy walking around filming, right? I'm like, what? Why is he walking around filming? And then my series gunnery sergeant said, hey, a movie director is going to be embedded with your platoon because you're a new senior drill instructor and you're on the first deck. That's it. I didn't do anything special. but fast forward 20 plus
kind of
years
voluntold.
Later, yeah, voluntold, right? Like a lot of people, like they get mad at me because I post stuff about inside Marine Corps recruit training, but I didn't do it. I was voluntold. Here's what's going to happen. Don't F it up, right? Don't screw it up. Don't get caught doing allegations on camera. So like fast forward, I got out of the military, and then my entertainment company now owns all the footage that was captured on my platoon. So now I'm able to release it to the world, but it was voluntold, not volunteered.
Yeah, 100%. And so now talking a little bit about that, did you catch a little flack from fellow drill instructors and stuff like that? Because they're like, they didn't want, sort of the laundry to be aired, so to speak.
Well, it's a combination of all of it. Number one, like I had other seniors say, hey, go to his. So there's a lead series and a follow series, right? So the bottom decks, the guy that was at on the follow series, he could have easily been the one filmed, but he was like, I don't want no freaking camera crew following me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Right. Yeah.
I was the boot senior, so to speak. Like he was on his third senior cycle. He's like,
Sure.
I don't want no camera. And so on one
Fell on
hand,
you. Yeah.
people are like, I don't want no camera on me. Then on the other hand, you have other seniors like, oh, they should have filmed me. And then on the other hand, you have other people saying, oh, you because when they're filming, you got to remember behind the cameras standing the company commander, battalion commander, company first sergeant, series gunnery sergeants. You have all these people behind the camera. So you can't discipline the recruits like you normally would because you're threading that needle between allegations and issues and problems and being pulled. So normally it takes about a week to get my platoon snapped in. That platoon took me about 3 weeks to get them locked in. And we started off bad and slow because all the cameras are here and we couldn't put the pressure that we normally would on them. But the platoon ended up at the very end coming together, and we became, I think, I don't know if we were on a platoon, but we became one of the best platoons in the company. It just took us a while to get there.
Yeah, because I gotta imagine now. So, do you feel like the recruits kind of had a little bit of a no too? Like,
oh yeah, they took advantage of it.
these guys can't do as much right now. Like,
yeah, they took advantage of it.
The crew's here, you know, like, yeah. Yeah, you guys were probably just grinding your teeth like,
And then, after a couple weeks into it, finally be like, hey, turn off that effing camera.
Right.
And then shut off the camera.
I'm about to smoke these fools.
I'm smoking these bitches right now.
Yeah.
And then you go out and smoke them, and you be like,
oh, hold on, lost you. You're muted.
Oh. I think
there
somebody
you
would.
All right,
Yeah,
there you
somebody.
Go.
Am I muted? Okay,
no,
cool.
Now you're back. Okay.
Yeah, somebody try to call me. Sorry,
No,
I like to do podcasts on my phone because sometimes I get animated and motivated. I want to show something, so I'll pick up my phone and go walk around. So.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, man. So, yeah, I mean, so it's totally a different dynamic, and so they went through the whole 12 weeks with you guys all the way through the crucible and everything, huh?
Yeah, and everybody's like, how did this guy get embedded with your platoon? Like, unless you're like National Geographic, History Channel, or somebody big like that. Well, the guy that filmed the documentary on my platoon, he was former Navy. He was in school at SDSU for film, and he cut hair on base. And one day the base general sat in his chair for a haircut. And then when he was getting a haircut, he told him the story. Hey, I'm a film student. I'm a Navy veteran. I'd like to shoot a documentary on Marine Corps recruit training. If you allow me, I have to do a final project for school. And long story short, the general's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. Right. And from our perspective, from drill instructor's perspective, you don't want to be filmed. You don't want to be filmed because you know that can go south really quick. But we were voluntold, and fast forward, here we are. People know who I am, and people know the drill instructors that are in the film because of what that general decided to do, what the director was able to get access. The reality of it is everything happens for a reason, and I believe that God's placed me in this leadership position. And I'm not saying I'm in the leadership position. What I'm saying is in a position that has influence. We could share, recruit training with people, and we can mentor the next generation. My heart's in the right place, and I do the right things for the right reasons. And I think that what we do as Marines is very special. Yes, do we share some of the insight about recruit training? Yes, we do. But the reality of it is even if we showed it 1,000 times over, you still have to put in the work to become a United States Marine. So my job as a new drill instructor, my job is going to make you quit. As a senior drill instructor, my job is to keep you in the fight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of one of my questions as well. Before we kind of get more into that too, talk about the difference between being a green belt and then transitioning into a black belt and kind of what that relationship entails with the recruits. Because, the way I guess I looked at it as a recruit is like my senior drill instructor is kind of like daddy. you know, and the other guy's just there to the junior, you know, Cap, he's just sitting there chewing our ass constantly, you know, and all over us. And then we kind of had a third one that was kind of plays both sides, you know. So it's kind of the three of them all have their own roles.
Yeah. So like if you're a new drill instructor, your job is not to talk to recruits, not to hang out with recruits, not to, you know, your job is to do nothing but hate, cause nothing but hate and discontent. Like, like put so much pressure on them that they have no choice but to change, right?
Right.
Just on them. They ask a question, he's just chewing them out. And then
you're breaking them down. You're breaking
them down. And then you got the next person, right? Which is like the third hat. So you got the fourth hat, which is hate and discontent. You got the third hat, which normally is kind of a combination of the two hats, the fourth hat sporadically, and to back up what the junior drill instructor is, which is teaching drill and all that. So you kind of, you weigh back and forth to both, right? And then you got the J, I think in Paris Island, they call it the heavy, which is basically you have, you know, 5 or 6 platoons under your belt. Now it's time for you to teach everything to the recruits. You teach them how to make their beds, shoe displays, how to attack the head, how to secure the foot lockers, how to get your weapons, how to drill everything, right?
All the ditties.
The J, the heavy, teaches them everything. And when the J is speaking, the third and fourth hat shut up, right? Like they're walking around like messing with recruits, but they need to be quiet because the J is teaching them something. So they'll walk around and slap their hands to make sure they're at the position of attention. And so they're kind of like flies looking for anything to land on and mess with, but you got one person in charge. And it's the same thing when the seniors talk in the J and the third hat and the fourth hat, they're not, you know, it's kind of like that reverence where, okay, the senior's here, everybody else calm down. And the senior's kind of like the savior of them getting in trouble, right? So let's just say everybody plays a specific role, but sometimes those roles, like as a senior, my platoon pisses me off, I'm going back to being the fourth hat. And we're going to cause any hate and discontent. And we're like, oh, we don't want to piss him off again.
Yeah, no, senior could lose his mind. And when senior is mad, the senior drill instructor is mad, everybody knows it. And, you know,
everybody,
it's a bad day. Yeah, it's Black Friday almost all over again. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Dad's pissed, dude. Like, we're done. You know, we're getting
cancel Christmas. It's over.
Yeah, no joke. So let's show your website, which is ssgtnichols.com, and then we're gonna kind of, I think it would be awesome to show everybody. Let me see. I'm gonna bring it up. All right, here's his website. We're going to go ahead and take a little look into the Black Friday Dark Dawn official trailer. And everybody's in for a little treat here. Let's get a little insight. You know, I got to say, I appreciate them showing a little insight into what the Marine Corps does. I think that there's a lot of people out there that, you know, have no clue, you know, what Marines go through. And I do believe that this is probably not 100% how it is because film was around, but I imagine here we go.
The fastest, the meanest around me, because I do not accept nothing less than number one. You understand me? Yes! All the way down! All the way down! All the way down right now! Down! Meanest, the fastest, the hardest. I told you that from day one.
PT every day. PT every day. Build your body the Marine Corps way. Build your body the Marine Corps way.
You are an individual. We will weed you out and send you back home. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Drill instructors here can do as they want.
In this environment, things can be very strenuous. You're going to be doing things to your body that you've never done before.
You do not say, sorry, sir, thank you, sir. Any trash like that, do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I'm not your mom, I am not your damn dad, do you understand me?
Yes, I know the recruit that don't want to sound off.
A 70-year-old woman walks faster than this. 70
senior citizen women with walkers. Move faster than this.
He's some damn mama's boy with spinning off a thumb in his mouth, crying and whining and longing for home with rubber routes flying down range. I need him to cover my back, you understand me?
I'm gonna use my mind on you already.
Yeah, let's go, honey. How much you miss Susie, you understand me? Yes, sir. You know, that figure, I'm watching this area, you watching that area. No one's gonna speak up on me, cut my damn throat, you understand me?
You're on a hunger strike? So you're not refusing to trade, are you? Yes or no?
We're going to suck it up. Take 800 milligrams of that, suck it up. Gonna go?
Yes, sir.
That's like Motrin, but it's a man kind of thing. We got that?
Yes, sir. Is to train each one of you to become a United States Marine. Whoever kills whoever first. We got it? Yes, sir. I told you the first day you got here, I will not give up on you, even after some of you have given up on yourselves.
If you quit on yourself, you'll be a quitter for the rest of your life.
Ready to fight?
Yes, sir.
Ready to fight?
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is what being a Marine's all about, you understand?
Yes, sir.
How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered?
Tell you what, brother, that is motivating. There's nothing more proud in my life than what I went through in boot camp. I chose to be a Marine. It was me that went and signed up. It was me that went to the recruiter. It was me that swore in. It was me that went in there and grinded, next to my brothers, for 12 weeks. But to stand on top, man, and receive that EGA, gosh, I mean, that was just, I cried like a bitch. I was up there. my buddy Good Enough was sitting there pushing me like, shut up, bro. Because at that moment, man, it was like a flashback of all the things, the sacrifices and commitment that made me get to where I was and made me earn that title.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because honestly, bro, besides having my kids, that was a great moment in my life, but becoming a Marine,
it was a defining moment. It was a transformation.
Amazing. Right.
Cannot be explained. Like, it doesn't matter why you joined the military.
Hold on.
Individuals have to do the work to become a United States Marine. So regardless, at the end of the day, doesn't matter why you joined or what led you to join. It doesn't matter if it's, you coming from poverty, you want to get away from a hard, lifestyle. You always knew you wanted to become a Marine since you were as little as you can remember, or they gave you $1,000 sign-on bonus. It doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. You have to put in the work. You have to be disciplined, and you have to become a basically trained Marine. And if you're not a basically trained Marine, you will not earn that title United States Marine. I remember when I was in recruit training, because we had first phase, second phase, and third phase when I was a recruit a long time ago.
Me's not the same.
And we looked like a herd of cattle when you knew first phase. And then you see third phase coming back. They got the Marine Corps haircut.
Gangway Marine.
Yeah, and they would scream like 1, 2, 3, 4, tech chaw. And then
Oh
it
yeah.
would just echo and send goosebumps through my body. I'm like, I don't know what they've gone through, but
Right.
this hardship right now, I want that. And that was the game changer for me. Like they would march and hit their heels are just driving, and it's like thunder coming, right? Like these bad mother, and they were in recruit training, and first phase recruit, looking up at third phase recruit, man. I don't know what they've gone through, but I got to get there.
Yeah. I mean, it is something different, and to hear it in their voices, to see them and the way they attack the chow hall, because we if they have us attack the chow hall, but they attack it differently. It is a thing, and I mean, even when I was done, man, I remember my parents. They came to graduation. After graduation, went to a hotel. That morning, I got up, put on my skivvy shorts, my PT shorts, my skivvy shirt, and my green sweater, and I went for a run, man. I was just feeling like top of the world, and like I could run miles no problem. Like
Yeah.
I could almost fly through it. It's just amazing, that transformation, and you go from kind of being unsure about yourself to being assured of yourself, and full of piss and vinegar. And that's,
Yeah.
A lot of us Marines, people go like, gosh, damn. Well, it's a level that we've gotten to because you need it.
Yeah.
You got to go into a situation knowing you're going to kick ass. Not like, I don't know if I can do this or not. No, you
Yeah.
need to go into that ready to fucking do it. Because if you
could
go
see
in there,
you could see the difference. Like first phase, second phase, whatever. Like first phase, you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, tack chaha. 1, 2, 3, 4, tack chaha. Aye, sir. And then once you go through second phase, which is like the combat training, hiking the mountains, setting up bivouac sites, going through all that hardship, they come back
the
from that,
suck.
and then the drill instructors like you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, tack chaha. And then you could say it as low as you want as a drill instructor, and they'll spit it out like piss and vinegar. But in first phase, if you're low, they're low. If
Yep.
you're high, they're high, right? Like you get them to a point where, and it's called discipline, right? Instant willingness, obedience to orders, right? In the beginning, there's no discipline. We put structure to help build that discipline. But all the hardships, holding the rifle, going to the pit, running the obstacle course, the confidence course, going to the field, like next thing you know, like, man, I can freaking do this. But without the structure of Marine Corps drill instructors, the recruits are never going to get there on their own. There's power in partnership. It doesn't matter what MOS you served in, how long you served. Reality of it is we carried that torch as long as we possibly can, and we made an impact in people's lives. And I like to say this to my fellow veterans. Don't spend 4, 10, 20, 30 years making a great name for yourself in the military, and then get out of the military and spend the next 40 or 50 talking about who you used to be. You have a unique skill set, and you have a unique discipline. And when we don't have the structure of the military, we start to lose that discipline, and the things that we don't want to creep up in our lives start to creep up. I challenge every veteran that's out there, convert your military experience into something that you're passionate about, and go spend the next 30 or 40 changing the world.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one thing I do see is anytime you see veterans out there going and putting their heart into something, some great things come out of it. I've some great nonprofits out there, some amazing nonprofits out there, because there's some selfless individuals still out there putting in a grind, wanting to create great communities for their brothers and sisters, because a lot of us feel disconnected a little bit when we get out, because here we go from this unit when we're always all together. We go here, we go there. We're always with a group of folks, right? Then we all get sent home. Now we're removed, and some of us live miles and miles away from each other. So we just get really removed from all that stuff, so when you are able to find communities and stuff like that, it's another way to feel like you're part of something. And Yes, we all had a career, but that's something that helped us to get to where we are. And we still have a mission out there for ourselves and to others to keep on driving. And I think that some of the most successful people out there, if you look into some of the most successful businesses and stuff like that, they're all military veterans that just kept having the drive and the force to want to do it.
Yeah, it's very rewarding for me to see a lot of service members get out of the military and become successful. I ended up leaving the Marine Corps March 25th, 2007. Originally, I was getting involved with the real estate industry in California, but 2007 we had a economic crisis where the housing market crashed, and I ended up moving back to Louisiana, where I'm from. I started off owning 6 convenience stores. I grew to 10 in 2 years. My first full year in business, our company generated $49.5 million in gross revenue. Things were great. And in the middle of all that success, one of my best friends, who was a Marine that followed me through recruit training and became a Marine, he got in a car accident, got severe migraines, got addicted to pain pills, got discharged from the military. He ended up committing suicide. His name's Nicholas Gamble. And looking back, I think that was the onset that, I can stay here and make a lot of money in the convenience store industry, or I can go and help our servicemen and women. And so after about another year plus in the convenience store industry, God really just gave my wife and I peace about going back to California and starting a Veterans Impact Program and helping service members. So let me give you an example. Out of my 29-year professional career, fitness is the only thing that I've discovered that transcends race, religion, ethnicity, military rank, financial status. None of that stuff matters. People come together for the common cause, which is fitness, and it starts to tear down the walls that divide us every day. Those walls are Democrats, Republicans, others,
Yeah.
gay, straight, white,
Yep.
black, whatever.
All the divisive measures.
Yeah. Fitness tears those walls down, right? And it allows us to connect with people. And so I basically have dedicated my life. I left the convenience store industry in 2009, moved back to California, and for the last 13 plus years, I've been working on the Veterans Impact Program. I currently serve as the military director for F45 training. And what we've done, for those that don't know what F45 training is, it's a global fitness company. It's high intensity interval training. It's a group exercise. There's over 3,000 studios sold in 74 countries around the world. Mark Wahlberg's one of the owners of the company. Long story short, great organization. And I proposed to them. After 8 years of doing my own fitness business, I closed my business on a Friday, joined F45 on a Monday just to work out with the group. Fell in love with F45 and realized that they had the infrastructure to help as many transitioning service members as possible. So I did an executive summary to stand up a military division for F45. And long story short, I've been with F45 now for 4 years. We have a Department of Defense approved skill bridge program. And what that basically means is the last 6 months of their military career, they can apply to become an intern with F45, and we'll train them, we'll educate them, and we'll prepare them to be considered for our internship training program, and they get a job when they get out of the military. And since we've started our DoD approved skill bridge program, we've helped over 800 transitioning service members. So right now in real time, I have over 150 active duty service members that are interns at F45 training studios all throughout the United States. I have another 162 pre-approved to join our program within the next couple months. And I have another 350 in the chute trying to get their military command approval to join us. So that's the power of fitness. I like that, it doesn't matter, engineer, doctor, whatever. People love fitness because it tears down the walls that divide it. Even if they get out of the military and do it part-time or full-time or become an owner, it doesn't matter. The reality of it is my job is to help bridge that gap between them getting out of the military and into a new career. And that's what I do every day. And then also the second thing so that's transitional readiness. The second thing I do is I help working on placing F45 training studios on military installations. We put our first one on Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. Our next one's supposed to be Marine Corps Base Hawaii. I got 2 scheduled for the Army, and I got like 3 scheduled for the Air Force. So things are moving, and the reality of it is God's given me this unique skill set to help service members with combat readiness and transitional readiness. And that's what I do. I wake up every day full time. I work out. I'm 47 years old. I wake up, I kick my own ass, and I'm staying in shape, and I'm helping as many service members as I possibly can. And another thing that I kind of morphed into is my wife my wife's been in the banking industry her whole career. And about 6 months ago, her bank, Union Bank, got bought out by US Bank, and there was a merger and acquisition, and she got laid off, right? And I was like, babe, you're laid off? Why don't you start a company, and why don't you just take what I've done for F45 and start helping other companies do what we've done at F45? And so now my wife's kind of morphed into, she works with companies. Like if a company wants to recruit and hire servicemen and women, she will go in and she'll become a consultant. She'll help them develop a job description and apply to become a DoD approved skill bridge program. And when you apply and you get approved, basically any job position, doesn't matter if it's lineman, admin, marketing, finance. She's helping companies now stand up skill bridge programs so they can help more transition service members. So everything I've went through at F45 is now I've taught my wife on how to do it. And now she's working with a couple other companies and helping them run their skill bridge program so we can help more transition service members. So I'll just pause right there. I know that was long-winded, but as you can see, I'm passionate about what I do because I realize if I can get them before they get out of the military, I can help them. I can help prevent suicide from creeping in and being a thought in their mindset.
Bro, and let me tell you, I've already in my head thought, wow, we need stuff like that. We need to get to these guys, because when I got out in 2000, it was at the end of 2003, like the end of the year, because I had like 65 days set, in the books. So
terminal leave, yeah.
I took the whole thing because I was on deployment, so obviously I was able to save up leave. But when I got out, that was it. And I had gone to combat. I had been in combat zones. I had, experienced things. There was nothing like, hey, when you get out, you're going to have PTSD. You're going to have this. And I didn't even know what the hell PTSD was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know until I started having like weird things happen to me that were unexplainable. And I'm like, well, this never used to happen to me before, and I had nothing to help me or any kind of way to transition out. It was just, hey, we made you a Marine. We put you through all this stuff. Now, boom. Now go try to be a civilian again.
Yeah. So
it's not easy. It's not easy transitioning to be a civilian, man, because civilian world is different than the military world is, and how we handle everything too.
And like by the grace of God, this is what has kind of morphed into my calling and my ministry, is to help as many servicemen and women as possible. Taught my wife.
Absolutely.
Like if you are a veteran out there and, you work for a company that is veteran friendly, like consider reaching out to my wife, Christina Nichols at Nichols.Associates. If you want to pull it up and put it at the bottom of the screen, that'd be great. Like we have,
what is it again? What's her,
it's Nichols.Associates.
Nichols.Associates. Okay.
And like, if you work for a company that you, man,
.com
would
or
be amazing. No, Nichols.Associates. So associates represents com. It's just .com wasn't available, I guess, when she started it. So Nichols.Associates.
Is this right?
Nichols.Associates. Yep.
Okay.
And so if you go to Nichols.Associates without that space in there, you can go to the website and basically just say, hey, she helps companies with skill bridge, and she can work with. So if you're a veteran out there and you work for a company that is veteran friendly, like, why wouldn't you want to motivate your company to stand up a skill bridge program? You can do it internally, or you can reach out to someone like my wife, and she can help, be a consultant for the company to help them stand it up and stabilize. We can help more service members. If you're a company out here and listening to it, and you own the company, or you're, C-suite executive, look, these servicemen and women spend 4 years up to 30 years serving our country. Let's give them a hand up, not a handout. Of course, they would have to qualify and prove that they're the right fit for your company. But let's work together with with Nichols Associates so that you can stand up a skill bridge program. We can fast track the learning process. You don't have to go through a lot of unknowns. You can, when you hire consultants, they can help fast track that. Now we can help more service members not fall on their sword. When I say fall on their sword, I'm talking about they get out, they had all the structure in the military, they were amazing, and then they get out, and then next thing you know, they fall in the gutter. Like, man, it's an extremely powerful opportunity. And a lot of people don't know how to work with the Department of Defense. This is what I've done. And for the last 28 years, my wife's mom did 30 years in the Marine Corps. My wife's dad did 20 years in the Marine Corps. Her brothers in the Air Force just hit 20 years. Like my wife and I are the most patriotic people, and we will do everything that we can to help the individual service member, individual veterans, and the individual companies to help them help more service members. So we're here today because something happened 20 something years ago about Marine Corps boot camp and documentary. Like that has got me here, but character will keep me here. And I can tell you this, my wife and I have the character to help so many companies and so many veterans and so many people. Like, that's great. That's all my 007 high speed, low drag 007 stuff, right? That's great. That has led people to know who I am, but that doesn't define me. That's just a piece of me. And hopefully you hear my heart. Let's work together. Let's reach out to let's connect. Let's work together. Like, you asked me 2 days ago, hey, you want to do a podcast? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. You know why? Because I know that the words I have to share, if people pay attention and listen, we can make a greater impact. So I have to, I don't want to, I have to get on and share the good news of helping more service members.
And you are extremely approachable, bro. Like, I didn't know how I was going to go, hitting you up and messaging you, if I was going to get an auto reply or not. Cause you do got a hell of a following and stuff like that. And I'm sure you do get quite a bit of messages. So I was absolutely elated, bro. Like, oh man,
I just hopefully you hear my heart. Like, I want people to know, like,
you're a leader, brother. You're a leader. You're a natural born leader. There's something about you guys, you drill instructor guys, man. There's a whole nother level of Marine to you guys. I gotta say, because even my buddy Gunnery Sergeant Cruz, one of my past guests, he's a good man. Even though he's working on his master's degree, putting up a law firm with his wife.
Yeah.
I'm just like, bro, you guys are killing it, man. And inspiration to all of us out there, and showing us that, hey, just because, we're out or we did something then doesn't mean that we got to stop or we, have to stop.
Yeah.
There's other things too. Like, I noticed by becoming into this podcast world, I've opened up my life to nonprofits that I never knew nothing about. How many different communities there are for each and every one of, the people out there, whether you like reading, whether you like skateboarding, whether you like riding horses, shooting, fishing, you name it. There's a community out there. And I've learned that. And I've also learned that the people behind it are just veterans who still have chosen to be selfless and still serve to some degree, and you're out there still serving, brother. You're still out there making an impact on people. And it's not like you're and that's one thing a lot of us Marines and military, remember, we, when we swear in, we have a lifetime contract, right? And we just never want to, it never ends on us. And especially when we get out, it doesn't stop. We still want to fight and help our brothers and sisters right next to us.
Yeah.
And you're a prime example, brother.
So here's another thing that I've done. Like, I'm not trying to brag on myself. I want to share so we can help more veterans.
Absolutely.
So I also got affiliated with, so I used to work for the VA for 10 years as well. I rated disability claims for veterans. First 7 years, I was a VSR, which is Veteran Service Representative. My last 3 years at the VA, I was a rating. That means basically you submit your VA disability claim, and basically it would go to the VSR. The VSR would order exams, and then whenever the exams came back from the medical doctor, it went to the rater. I was the rater. I was the underwriter for the medical and legal decisions for the last 3 years. So when you get that letter in the mail that says you're 30% or 50% or 100% for these things, that's what I did at the VA. And then what I realized is, man, there's so many service members that need guidance and structure when it comes to working with the VA, because if you don't say the right words with the VA, you don't get the highest potential rating. The difference between one word is 10% and another word is 30%. Another
Keywords,
difference between 30 and 70. Like, you got to have keywords, and you need somebody to help translate that so you can get the benefits that you deserve. So I had all these people asking me, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And there's civilian companies out there that work with veterans, and most of them take back pay or 2% of whatever they get back paid or whatever. But I found a company called VETCOM, VETCOMM .us. They basically they basically work with veterans to file their VA disability claim. They charge $997 because you gotta pay staff to help them and run it. And if they don't get you service connection at 10% or higher, they'll give you your money back. Most companies take back pay, right? And so, like, I'm gonna put my camera on pause and I'm gonna grab the link and I'm gonna send it to you right now so you can put it up on the screen. So just give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
But the beauty of it is like, I've been very fortunate where I don't have to do all the work in my life myself. And so, like, I don't want to cut my own grass. So I hire somebody to cut my grass, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like, dealing with the VA is extremely challenging. And why, if you don't have the skill sets to deal with them, why not hire somebody to help you through that process? And if you file a claim with them, and this is why I really like them. So the lady that owns the company, she is so I just posted right there, so you can post it at the bottom.
I got it. Yep.
So vetcom.us/get-rated-now. And you go there and you basically fill it out and yada, 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 so on and so forth. The link I sent you in the chat, if you could put that at the bottom so people could see it instead of
100%.
every Saturday, that'd be great. But the beauty of it is, they have a skill set to translate what's going on with the veteran into VA understanding and knowledge so that they can get the highest rating. And another thing I like about them is that if you file for an increase, and let's just say you're 40% service connected and they don't get you to 50 or 60 or 70, they give you your money back. When does that ever happen? Like, it never happens. And the lady that started this company, she is a Marine. The CTO of the company is a Marine. And so it was two Marines that started it together. And then fast forward, 3+ years later, they're helping hundreds of service members all throughout the United States file their VA disability, log in, get it submitted, go see the doctor, get the exams, get the increase, and they're just crushing it. And if when do you ever get your money back? And she's running for Congress. So she owns this company, and she's running for Congress here in Southern California. So
outstanding.
She's on the news all the time, and they're just helping so many service members. Yeah. So I just kind of pause right there and let you take the talking for a little bit, since I get motivated.
Nah, man. Yeah. No, I love it, brother. And I love to see how motivated you are. It shows everybody your passion to serving still, you know what I mean? And it takes a whole another individual to do this kind of stuff. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into these kind of things. So you got to continuously want to have to serve, right?
Like, most people don't understand, like there's people, look, we live in a monetary society, right? Like, we have to have money to pay for food, pay for shelter, so on and so forth.
100%.
We have to have it. That's just the reality of it. Like, you could go to the VSOs, the Veteran Service Organizations, where it's free. But remember, when you get free, it's slow and low, right? The rating. You need people on your team that truly believe in what you're doing. help you translate it into the terminology that you need so that you can get the benefits and you can, take care of your family. There's no reason for our veterans to be homeless. 1/3 of the population that are homeless are veterans. We have to solve that problem. I don't have all the answers, but I think Kate Monroe, like the CEO of VetCom, she has some great solutions that if she gets into Congress, she can propose and help solve this problem. The reality of it is there's power in partnership. We have to make money doing that, but in the reality of it is if we give service members a hand up, not a handout, we can help them get to where they truly want to be. There's so many service members out there that have skill sets and passion, and it's just stuck behind drugs and alcohol and depression. Look, if you're out there and you need hope and you need help, look, find help because we need your skill sets. Don't live and die without leaving some kind of sign of wonder. Once upon a time, you lived here.
Man, that's great words right there. 100%.
And then here's one more thing for my service members that are combat veterans that are struggling from PTSD. Let me tell you something that somebody told me, and I'll never forget it. They did not beat you on a battlefield. Don't let them beat you at home.
Man, just a man of words right here. I love it, brother. And you know what I love about VetCom is she's a female and she's a Marine, and that's a lot of veterans get forgotten that there's a whole female population of veterans as well, and they're starting to be the rising population of homelessness as well. And a lot of people always associate military with male and things of that nature, but there's a lot of females that serve and a lot of females that get out and go through a lot of PTSD issues, drug addiction, prostitution, things of those nature. So I love to see a woman's face on an organization fighting for this kind of cause.
Let me share something else with you. I think it's very important. Active duty service members, reserve, guard, and veterans. Some of our biggest critics are our own peers, right? The people to our left and right that we serve with. And I'm originally from Louisiana, so I related to a bucket of crabs, right? You go crabbing, you catch crabs, you throw them in a bucket. Well, there's whatever crabs are at the top, they try their very best to get out of the bucket, right? But what happens is they start to get out of the bucket, and the crabs below them grab them and pull them back down. And when I use that analogy, I think of our fellow servicemen and women, regardless if you're active duty or already a veteran, regardless of where you're at. Let's not be crabs. Let's not reach up and pull down our fellow servicemen and women because they're doing something good. Matter of fact, we need to help push them up. Say, hey, words of encouragement. And instead of saying, oh, this is stupid, the podcast is dumb, why don't we say, hey, keep up the good work. Hopefully we make a great impact. Because you never know the impact. The words can change the trajectory of people's lives. Like some people wake up and like, I'm going to go work out. And if I don't feel any better, I'm going to commit suicide when I get back home. Or they can go work out. They run into you and you're positive and you give them hope for one more day. You know what I mean? Like the power of words can either build up or tear down. And I would encourage our servicemen and women, let's build each other up. Let's motivate and inspire each other. Let's force our service members to be successful. Matter of fact, when you see a service member that needs a hand up, give them a hand up. You see them hurting, say, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't commit suicide. Like, let's encourage them to our left and right, and let's truly make an impact in servicemen and women's lives.
I 100% agree, brother. And, we need to be the leaders amongst a world that needs help, to show that we want to build up and not tear down. We want to build our brothers and sisters up. Anymore, we see someone doing good, someone wants to tear them down and say all the bad things about them. And like, even though they're doing good, they want to find the bad in it, and we got to change that, especially on the veteran side. We got to cheer each other on. We got to be pushing each other. We see, them trying to do something. Well, let's get behind them and let's make them as successful as they can. That's something I love about this podcast, is that I want to help get all my brothers and sisters' stories out, what they're doing out, and show the world that, hey, these guys are still serving this great country. And you know, it's just at a different faucet, a different way. So let's not forget
here's a great way. Here's a great way to look at it. You
Yep.
get out of the military, you're a veteran, right? You're supposed to convert it to something. You shouldn't be walking around where everybody just knows that you're a jarhead or a former drill instructor, right? You should be like an insurgent for your community, like leading and motivating and inspire them. Like you should be, you know, creating sparks to create change and have ripple effects in people's lives. So many times they get out and they don't know how to convert. And like that's what I've really specialized in over the last 14 years. And now my wife is doing it with some amazing companies that are helping so many service members. So this is the onset of something amazingly beautiful because there's power in partnership. The more you know, the further you can go.
100%, brother. You know, I really appreciate you coming on, man, and taking the time to talk about all the things you got going on, your experiences. We'll do a couple little class plugs as I bring them up. This is the website, ssgtnichols.com. Definitely go check that out. This is for the F45training.com with the workouts, cardio, meal plans. Definitely a great way to keep you on the health path. We got Nichols Associates, which that's his wife, and she can help you guys, veteran companies and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got www.vetcom.us. You need help getting your rating increased, reach out and get yourself someone that can help you get what you deserve. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we go? Michael, Mr. Nichols, Staff Sergeant Nichols, is there anything else you got for us, brother?
Look, if you're looking for me on social media, everything is at Staff Sergeant Nichols. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you're interested in any of the content, you know, I get a chance to go speak to groups and speak to Corporal's Course and other academies and different stuff like that. So I share those with the world. I'm not doing it because I want to. I do it because I have to. God's kind of put me in this position where I need to share positivity with the world, and I do it through my social media platforms. But I do show the hardcore Marine Corps drill instructor stuff that which people want to see. But the reality of it is that, you know, you can't be that person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year. But the reality of it is look, if you need help, guidance, come on, man, you can do this. You're a veteran, you're a service member. Let's crush it. Let's show the world that, you know, we're amazing, we're smart, we're talented, we're gifted, we're motivated, and don't let what you can't do stop you from what you can do.
Love it. And once again, brother, I appreciate you taking the time to come on here and give us all your knowledge and share your experiences. I appreciate you, brother. And you can reach out to me anytime you need anything, anytime you want to come back on again and share some more. Always an open seat to you, brother. And I love what you're doing, man. Keep motivating and keep changing lives.
Amen.
We need you.
God bless, Semper Fi, and I like to say, hoorah.
All right, friends and fam. Well, that's going to wrap up another great episode. I tell you what, that is probably one of my favorites. I always love hearing about the Marine Corps. You know, being a Marine yourself, there's no other feeling. I promise you, it is a feeling that no other can explain. But I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Remember, don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking the day's ass. Until next time.